They're broken down and defeated, detergent, busy and confused, sleeping. You're dying while I wait you to get started on the journey chosen, wasted, no selected. I was so bad, what happened? Fall out of the sky and crush me in my smile. I was so bad, what happened? Fall out of the sky and crush me in my smile. Silver and jaded, then upcoming, they're broken down and defeated. You are dying while I wait you to get started. You are dying while I wait you to get started. I was so bad, what happened? Fall out of the sky, yeah. Crush me in my smile. I was so bad, what happened? Fall out of the sky and crush me in my smile.
I'm a motherfucking unicorn, a one-of-one. The vibe being the love and light, the enlightened one. My karma isn't just stellar, I live by truth. Fighting evil, my scars are living proof. Protecting you from the storms with all my might. Love me, I will treat you right. You ever cross me, it's the last thing you'll ever do. With my crown of thorns, I'll wreck you. I ain't playing, yo, Bryan hard, call me a saint. Too bad Chris, because Bigfoot knows my name. I'm a messenger of God, with loyalty I serve, taking out all evil with his holy word. A true Knights Templar, sword in hand, slice you up, bury you in the sand. I'm a motherfucking unicorn, you'll never find anyone like me. Born in the Bronx, raised in NYC, so listen up, take heed. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. A true Knights Templar, sword in hand, slice you up, bury you in the sand. I'm a motherfucking unicorn, you'll never find anyone like me. Born in the Bronx, raised in NYC, so listen up, take heed. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Crossing Realms Conference is coming this September 19th and 20th to the Eagleton Civic Center in Richmond, Missouri. Tickets to this landmark event are on sale right now at Eventbrite. The powerful speaker lineup will cover topics from Bigfoot, UFOs, and aliens, so you will not want to miss attending this amazing 2-day inaugural event. Again, that's the Crossing Realms Conference, this September 19th and 20th at the Eagleton Civic Center in Richmond, Missouri. Please mark your calendar and get your tickets before they vanish. Space is limited.
Holy Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly hosts, by the power of God, thrust into hell Satan and all the other evil spirits who prowl through the world, seeking the ruin of souls. Amen and amen.
Hello, welcome to Third Eye Live. I was about to say Third Eye Blind. Thank you very much for Penny for that, because she got that in my head. But yeah, Holy Michael, definitely protect us from the evil, which is also the politicians of the world. I'm going to bring in our co-host, the wonderful Mark Eddy. Mark, how are you today? How's the flooding going in West Virginia? Because it keeps on hitting it up over there, doesn't it?
Oh, it's just unbelievable. The stories I'm hearing, the clean up. But I think a lot of people are, uniting against all odds to try to rebuild their lives. So, that's a really good message that I'm getting from some local churches and talking with a lot of people.
Well, I mean, you got to stand up and help each other and help your neighbor, even if, even the ones that are assholes, if you start helping them, maybe they're like, wow, these people are really cool. And they stop becoming assholes, pardon the expression. But then again, there's some other people that aren't like that. But I was going to talk about something UFO related. We're going to wait for Julie to get in here. But I will be presenting at the Crossing Realms Conference in September, the 19th and the 20th in Missouri. Go take a road trip, go get some ribs in Kansas City or whatever else you eat. And there's places hit in Nashville and, go to the hoedown. But it's going to be a great event. We're doing ghost hunting. There's a meet and greet and all this other stuff. And like I said, I'm giving out free hugs. I may be doing some readings too for free. May charge them. I don't know. We have to figure it out. But I would hope Mark Eddy can make it. But I think he's going to be on assignment in Bangladesh. But just before we bring Julia in, I want to thank everybody for coming in. Excuse me for the cough. I want to welcome Crypto. And there she is. She can't tell. I'll tell you, Julia's bringing a lot of great people here. Welcome, Lisa, and of course our one and only friend from Newfoundland. Actually, we know John Mallard, but Jen is right there. I think she may have surpassed John Mallard. That is the Australian Labradoodle in my house, which has now become an asshole Labradoodle, and he's probably going to be barking here and there every once in a while. But we have a ton of people. Thank you again, Chantel. We have Big Al Santariga in the house. The Big Ragu, the Podfather, only joking now, he's gonna kill me. And we have the one and only, formerly from Nassau, Christy in the house. And yes, part of the Creature Man team right there. The Creature Man team is in the house, also with Julia. And we're gonna go through this. I just want to say hi to everybody because we have a lot of new people here. Hey Fritz, thank you for coming in. And we're gonna put your stuff up on, over there in the lower left corner. We have the wonderful tag team duo from Michigan UFO Sightings and Paranormal Encounters podcast, Wayne Braden, a rocker in his own right, party on Wayne, and his wonderful, lovely other half. And it's a school night. Michelle's in the house. But let's start by bringing Julia in, introducing the entire planet to Julia on the Third Eye Light Network. I was stoked about this, and we'll go in and we'll welcome her to Third Eye Live. Julia, welcome to the broadcast. We're going to switch this up a tad bit. We're switching up the players so you can be at the forefront right there. Julia, welcome to the broadcast.
Hi,
Thank you for bringing everybody in.
Julia.
Yes. And it's great. And the way this happened was you're part of the Creature Man team.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she's this. You know what? You go to Florida and you just become a little bit more crazy, but it's a good thing.
It's the heat.
Oh, it's definitely damn. I don't know what. No, I think it's the humidity, because the heat goes to a certain point, but that humidity is like. I always say to people, like, when it's cold, you can always put stuff on, and then when it's hot, you can only take off so much before they call Chris and the cops.
Correct.
Like, you know, because you're just like, sir, please put that back on. But well, since some people, we have a lot of other podcasters in the house, the Michigan UFO, that very well may be interested in saying, hey, Julia, you know, we want to touch base with you and get you on their broadcast. And also out of Newfoundland, Jen has a great podcast, Paranormal Newfoundland Boots on the Ground team. They do a lot of investigation. So, and I'm going to hook you up with everybody else I know, because this is what I do. But how did you get started in this? It's not like, you know, like, I want to go to school and I want to study blah, blah, blah. Like, you just like, I'm going in to look for a cryptid that's known as Sasquatch or Bigfoot. I prefer Bigfoot or Sabe, but some people like Sasquatch.
You know, it's doesn't matter to me. It's all kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
We'll get into that in a minute. But
same shit, different day.
So
Sorry.
something had happened to me when I was about 13 years old that I believe to be alien related, maybe a UFO encounter or something like that. And the older I got and the more I was looking into it, and I started looking into people, possible abductees and things, I started noticing a lot of correlations between UFO alien encounters and Bigfoot encounters. So I started getting into it more about 15 years ago, started doing research on my own, started looking into it. And then I met with Chris. Chris introduced me to Stevie, and that's how I ended up on a Bigfoot research team.
Yeah, and that's how the band formed.
Yeah.
And we got you got a fan club, so but we know that. But we got Third Eye Drive here. So you getting you know, and Stevie is awesome. And you know, I met Stevie through a third party who is like a para groupie, and she's a wonderful person. She's like, oh, you have to be my friend. She knew everybody. Mm-hmm. So and when you get Stevie on there, if you look at Stevie, you're like, what are we dealing with here?
Oh, he's like, you know, he's all day.
Yeah, no. I get it, but like, I have a buddy named Bobby who he looks like he's going to kill you. You know, it was metal from like birth. Like, yeah, we're doing. God bless you. And like when he walks down, he's the nicest, sweetest guy. Like, hey, how are you? Helping old ladies across the street. Totally like that. But it's just interesting because Stevie came on. He was like, yes, sir. No, sir. I'm like, I'm not old enough to be a sir. I'm a knight, sir, but that's a totally different thing. Baldwin here now in Florida. Yeah, no, I know that. But so did you you guys started just to hang out a little bit, get the feel for everybody. Like, do I really want to go in the woods with Chris and Stevie? You know, are there any other females on this team? Just, you know.
Well, you know, I knew Chris from way before, just through the music community locally around here. So him and I were familiar with each other. We knew each other, and you know,
that's cool.
Anybody that Chris says was cool, then I'm down with.
Yeah.
So, you know, he was talking to Stevie about me for a while. I was like, listen, this chick's for real. You know, she's not anybody. I mean, she's genuinely just into this to try to figure it out. You know, so eventually he invited me out to go out with the team, and after that, it was on.
Yeah. It's you know, Chris is a great guy. I met him for the first time actually when I went out about a year ago. We went to the spot. I don't normally mention the spot because let's keep people's areas kind of private. I'll leave that up to Stevie and Chris and you guys. And the first time I'm very like, you know, like whatever you want to do. Yes, I'll just give you a little bit of my opinion, but like whatever you want to do. Now when I go out, guys, I'm going to say, motherfucker, we're not leaving this campsite because the fucker's right here. We don't have to travel 7 miles to the old campsite, you know, down a road that you can twist your ankle. but it's just a wonderful crew. And then I heard the Long Island, the Baldwin. I'm like, oh yeah, he's from Long Island. Because I'm a New Yorker as well. So
I can tell.
Well, I'm a little.
There's a certain cadence about your voice,
I'm just I hate being here. I can't wait to literally, when you get to like southern Virginia, just when you cross into North Carolina, which is really weird. I'm going to say this. There is a ginormous Confederate flag, and I'm like, okay, I'm home now, and then you just keep traveling down, and then when you see the free state of Florida and all the pigs on the wild boar on the side of 95, you're like, yeah, this is where it is. Hopefully this time around I'll find, I saw a guy traveling down in a Jeep pulling some stuff, and I was only on one side of him, and then I passed him, and on top of the Jeep was a blood red full casket with silver, like stuff on it. And I'm like, well, yeah, I guess that saves $10,000 shipping them through the air. Come on, Grandpa, I'm going to bury you. Right. And then the next day I was like, wow, that was the coolest thing. And I got, I slept over in Florence, and then the next day there he is. And I'm like, that motherfucker's a vampire. That's what it is. He's like Renfield to the vampires. Like, there's a vampire in that box right now. It's like just lying there. It's weird. But it's Florida.
The lawless, godless state of Florida. Anything is possible. So.
100%.
Could that be considered abuse of a corpse?
I don't know. Maybe. It costs like $10,000 to ship them through the air, by the way. So, I'll hook them on top of my car, and, if somebody needed, whatever. Look, I'll do it for $5. Okay, it's a deal.
You try to lowball me.
Yeah, she tried to like. These fetus were born yesterday, Bob. I'm sorry. That's a little South Park reference. To everybody. But that's cool. So what was your first investigation? Well, let's start with you mentioned like I was trying to explain to you how we do it, and we're pretty laid back here. And then you mentioned something about your alien encounter. Mm-hmm. And something I was going to start before you came on is I went to the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash. It's a 3-day event in Gettysburg, and it's done to raise money for Gold Star families, Blue Star families, and people that really need it. Like, people that need wheelchairs. There's a really young child there, probably about 6 years old, a couple of years ago, and he had a couple of different rare diseases. He wasn't doing good. He needed some money. The parents were trying everything. So I always love those events to give back at. Mm-hmm. But when I've had a lot of UFO experience and some missing time, and I know that when there's a high pitch in my ear, first thing I do is look up. But on Saturday, I just felt uneasy. I felt, I got the high pitch a couple of times during the day. It was like, it's almost like them saying, "Hey, we're coming." Mm-hmm. Put out something to nosh on. We're coming. We're going to take your fat ass, right? And it was weird, and I didn't see any crafts or anything. But when I woke up Sunday morning, I did have this pain in my front now of my teeth. Now, this, thank you very much to the parents and some hockey maneuvering, is not real. So I have implants. Actually, when I asked my dentist friend who put them in there, I'm like, he goes, "We're going to put these implants in." I said, "Wait a minute. Do you think the extraterrestrial is going to be upset by you?" He's like, "No." And it was, I mess around with him. But, and it just was weird because there's no way. It's so tight. Nothing can get in there to cause me to have that kind of issue. So it was weird, and then
rattled around a bit or something. But
no, it wasn't. I wasn't getting hit in the face this time around, thank God. And Noah was beating me up this week. But when you mentioned what you mentioned, I just thought that was really, really interesting. So what was can you want to discuss the full encounter or not at this point? And it's all right, because sometimes these things get crazy. I'd
kind of like to I wouldn't mind kind of getting this part out of the way because, I mean,
Sure.
before I even start with it, you got to understand this is the first time that I have ever really put this out there, because the only people up until like 5 years ago that knew anything about this were the two other girls who were with me.
Right.
And I've just reached a point with the amount of research that I've done and as much as I've experienced and everything that I've heard, that I don't care if I look crazy anymore. So I'm just going to go ahead.
That's me.
Yeah, I don't care anymore. So
yep, it's kind of like have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up. I'm going to tell you what happened. I don't care if you think I'm nuts.
Yes, exactly. That's where I'm at.
Welcome to Florida. So yeah, and again, like I said, if there's something we go someplace, and I never want to put anybody in an uncomfortable position, but we will, you know. So we're all good about it because, you know, you don't have to. It's, you know, people like, hey, come on, tell us, and I'm like, you know, it's their choice to tell you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's not, you know, whether you want them to do it or not. It's they have to be comfortable with it, because some of the things that we deal with get pretty crazy. You
There's
know,
really not a lot that I'm uncomfortable with, so feel free, ask away.
Right, so I'm just going to put up. This was the day after. This was Sunday into Monday. It was a cool moon.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you know, I have an iPhone. I don't have the Samsung that has the better camera in it or whatever. But I took a picture of it. I have nothing on my lenses, not a thing. But when you zoom into it, you get to see things that were kind of odd, and they weren't in every photo, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to get to that photo because my computer decided to go on effing vacation at this point. So I zoomed into that spot, and I'm going to put that one up now too. And these, I know it's a little bit small here, but these dots actually have shape to it. And then the one to the right, it looks like a craft. I'm going to try to put this into.
I can see what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, that looks like a craft.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to open it with preview, because this way I can zoom in on it so you can understand what I'm talking about. So hopefully preview will open up, and it does, which is great. I'm going to shut that down, and I'm going to put this into preview. So I'm going to remove these right now and share the preview. Remove from the studio. Because I want people to see I'm not. There's a method to what I'm talking about. So I'm sharing the screen. I'm sharing the preview window. Where are you right now? Right here. And this way I can zoom in on it. So you're going to see it in a second. So I just got to make sure it comes up when it comes up. And how come it's not coming into your browser? Can't access your screen. Try capping a different way. Oh my God, why do you make my life so difficult? Why? Why do you make my life so difficult? I'm going to put it into something else then. So, but it was really, really bizarre how it did do this. And I'm going to put it into the Chrome tab. I'm going to open the file. If you see me wipe my face, it is about 400 degrees in my apartment right now because Con Edison cut the power back. Chris, you may remember these days. And now the compressor won't go on onto my air conditioner. So it's basically having like an asthmatic breathing on you. So it's hotter than the sun at this point. So during this episode, I'm going to lose about 57 pounds, which is great. Putting into this, and now I'm going to share this screen. So give me one more second. I'm going to share this, and that'll make my life easier. Share screen. Here it is. Open it up, and we're going to see it right now. So do we see it? Yes, we do, right?
Yes, we do.
So I'm going to zoom in on that, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Do you see this? The one on the left, the black piece on the left actually looks like a delta, but the one on the right is what caught me because I've seen things like this. It looks like there's an engine in the middle, and then there's two wings on either side. So I thought that was like, oh wow, maybe this is the bastard that just took whatever from me at this point and made my life miserable.
Is it a satellite?
Well, I mean it doesn't have that vibe on satellite. I mean, we do have a science teacher in the house with Party on Wayne. He teaches science, but the middle definitely looks like it's hot in an engine. I can't describe it, but it looks like something very futuristic. So either that's ours or that is a actual UFO captured. And there's a bunch of them. They're in some photos of the moon. I just went, as an investigator, you take multiple photos, and in some of them, they're not. And I check my lens. I always use these lens wipes on everything. So, but getting back to your experience, and we'll remove this from the studio audience, what happened that, what was, if you want to get into it, if you don't want to get into it, it's not a problem. I'm sure Chris won't give you a hard time later on tonight.
Come at me, bro.
Come at me, bro. Yeah, it is impossible to tell because it's so far away. Sorry about that. So, I don't know if these are the same aliens that Julie started talking about. We're going to find out right now. So,
So, yeah,
you can kind of go skirt around if you don't want to get into too much detail. So, just let you know.
All right, yeah. So, I'll start from the beginning. Stop me whenever. Ask questions. If anybody out there has any questions, just ask away. So, when I was like 13, it was me, my best friend Veronica, and our other friend Caitlin. And we were sleeping over at Veronica's house. And in her room, she had this big futon that was in her room and a sliding glass door that opened up into a pool area and into the backyard. So we're all sleeping on that futon. And the next morning, we woke up and I was laying in the middle of the floor. I was completely naked, curled up in a ball. So, when we all woke up, my other friends that were on the bed were like, hey, what are you doing down there? And I said, I have no idea what I'm doing down here.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you why that is. So I get up, we're starting to get dressed, and Veronica had noticed that at the base of my spine, it was about yay big or so. At the very base of my spine, there was this marking. It was dark brown. It wasn't raised. It didn't hurt. And there was one big circle in the middle that had a slash around it and like 6 or 7 little symbols that were kind of going around it. So mind you, we're kids at this point, and this is, mid to late 90s. So cell phones, especially at that age, weren't really a thing. And the cell phones that were around didn't exactly have cameras or anything like that. So,
exactly.
We're kids. We didn't think nothing of it. We're like, oh, you must have slept on something. That's really weird the way that you woke up. So the day's going on. We're being kids. We get in the pool. Later on in that day, we go meet some friends of ours at a movie theater. So we're hanging out in front of the movie theater, and I started to get really, really sick, like sick to the point where I was like, oh, I think I need to go home.
Right.
So, we're kids. We don't think, oh, you should call your mom. We're like, oh, let's just go back to your house. We're spending the weekend. Yeah. So we end up going back to Caitlin's house at this point, and I get sick to the point where I think I'm going to pass out. At that point, I probably should have called my mom again, but you got to keep in mind, especially when I was a lot younger, my mother was very, very Pentecostal Christian. She didn't really like the fact that my best friend she was a Wiccan at this time. My mom hated that. If I would have told my mom that, I would have never seen my best friend again.
Right.
So we go, all right, so let's just go into Caitlin's room. We'll see what happens. Veronica and Caitlin decide to call the woman who was higher up in the coven at that point and say, hey, our friend's getting sick. There's this weird thing on the base of her spine. It's getting darker and she's really sick. So she thinks, that sounds like it could be possibly some form of magic or something. I suggest that you do this mirror magic technique, cover all the mirrors, say these things, and I'm going in and out of consciousness at this point. So I'm scared half to death. You know, I'm 13 years old.
Yep.
So this is going on for a while. I throw up. She brought a bucket into the room. I throw up into this thing, and what I'm about to say, I am aware. I have never seen this episode, but I've been told that there was an X-Files episode that had that sounded something similar to this.
I think I know where you're going with this, but let's go.
So I threw up a bunch of these perfectly round, shiny black balls.
Yep.
Is that familiar to you? I should probably look up this episode.
Yeah, I mean, it's not actually. I've watched the episode, but it has to actually do with abductions and people that have had abductions. Yeah.
Well, you know, sometimes they put things out in movies and Hollywood. It's almost like a soft disclosure, as I would call it at this point, especially with technology. So I end up throwing up, and I'm basically asleep at this point. And from what they told me is that it very quickly faded and completely disappeared. I slept through most of the night. I woke up and I was fine. Now, to me, what it looked like was a crop circle, which is what led me to believe that this was an alien experience, because I mean, it wasn't like a little bit messed up here and there. It was absolutely perfect. Perfect circles, the symbols around it, the whole thing. And when I got a little bit older, I was like, you know what? That sounds like this possibly could have been an alien thing, because I started researching it.
Was it something like an implant?
There was nothing there. I mean, you could rub your hand over it. It was perfectly flat. It didn't hurt. It wasn't raised. Nothing like that. So it almost looked like a branding, but this research has been going on since I was a kid. So I have a couple theories on it, but, you know, the fact that I don't remember getting up, taking my clothes off and sleeping on the floor, held up in the fetal position, I thought, all right, maybe I can go to a hypnotist or something. So I'm in my mid-20s at this point. I found a woman who I believe still lives here in Sarasota. Her name is Lisa Benton. She does past life regressions, things like that. You know, I didn't want to go to your classic hypnotist, because even that's a little too far out, I think, for them. So
yeah, like, I'm just here to make you stop smoking. What the fuck did you come here with?
The thing about aliens, lady. Like,
yeah,
exactly.
But you know, Julia, it would be the gift that keeps on giving. You know.
Well,
yeah.
This is the route I went. So
they would just, like, you'd be walking down the street, they'd be coming like, oh shit, and they go across the street.
Lines.
Yeah, it's weird when stuff like this happens. But so you went to this other person to do the past life regression.
Well, that's what
or whatever.
Says. Yeah, for her, what she would do was put people under hypnosis to recall past lives. So I'm like, well, if she's open enough to that, I think she'd be willing to hear what happened and try to work with me a little bit, because I want to try to see if I could have brought up anything in my subconscious that may have possibly happened that night.
Right.
So I go to this woman. Apparently I'm kind of hard to put under, because I was there for quite a while. And I guess when I did go under at certain points, and I've since lost the tape, it was recorded on a cassette tape, if anyone remembers those.
Yeah, so those are great. Remember the winding back, because you don't want to damage your batteries.
Yeah. Then it gets all caught in the machine.
Yeah.
A lot started jamming.
Yeah.
So from what I heard on that, when I did go under, what I had said is that at one point in the night, I had gotten up out of that bed. I opened the sliding glass door, and there was a light in the backyard, and I walked towards it. And that's the only thing that I was able to get brought up from the brief time that I was able to get under hypnosis. So, like I said, I'm about 25 after that happened. So I'm looking into aliens. Then I find out, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, yeah, let me just interrupt. So it happened when you were 13.
Mm-hmm.
You finally kind of, like, something's going on when you're around 25. You say, hey, I'm going to go past lives. That's the spread between the two, between vomiting the balls or throwing that up. Sorry, the black gooey whatever balls. And I have while we're here, we did have a Jen from Newfoundland said, "Did you keep the black ball things?"
No, I mean, you got to keep in mind, I was half unconscious at this point, and
Right.
with our friends were around the same age as us, and so that probably went right down the toilet. I never really, I guess, thought to ask her what she did with that, but I'm assuming
Right.
she flushed it.
And then Chantel said, "Did the balls disappear or disintegrate?" Okay. See, this is the difference between boys hanging out at someone's their friend's house, and girls. Girls are like, "Okay, let's throw this out." Boys are like, "Dude, we're keeping this thing.
Let's poke it with a stick and see what happens."
Yeah, we're gonna light this shit on fire right now." It's a totally different mindset, but now it's totally different. But
if you were taken up, was the stuff you threw up like a meal?
Like a what?
Meal.
A meal.
Did they feed you? Like if you were gone for several hours and you came back with an upset stomach?
That's an interesting theory. I haven't thought about that one either.
That's why Bryan pays me a lot to be a co-host.
That's it.
Well,
it's not because you just looks pretty, Julia.
I had kind of thought that maybe if it was something medical that was used, how many times, I mean, when you're taking medicine, when you go to the doctor, what do? You swallow it. So maybe I threw it up afterwards or something. But I forgot where I was going with that. So
yeah.
I don't know. I was just trying, since this is my first time hearing this story, I'm just trying to understand what happened.
Yeah, I mean,
but going out into the light and coming back, and you're sick.
Nothing came up about me coming back, but definitely me walking out there was something that I said when I was under hypnosis. So I know I walked towards a big light in the backyard.
So this is very interesting, and this way, you woke up, crawled up in a ball, naked.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find your clothing after that?
What's funny is
I'm seriously, because then you said talking about going to a light in the backyard, and it's not something that, depending on how you grew up, and how whatever. It's not like you're gonna, I knew some people that would just be naked all the time, but you don't normally would just take your clothes off to go outside. It'd be,
Yeah, that's not something that I would have done,
Right.
So, yeah, again, you got to keep in mind, I was 13 when that happened. And, I'm quite a bit older than that now. So trying to remember where where we found the clothes. I mean,
can I ask you another question? And this is, I do this on investigation for Bigfoot, and I get the same look when I ask it, but it's actually relevant. I have a 13-year-old daughter right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to deal with that. She's growing up and all the changes you go through. Were you cycling at that point or not yet?
That is an excellent question, my friend. But
some people get that's none of your business. Actually it is.
It is. No,
okay.
I agree with you, because where I'm at on especially the age that it happened at, a lot of especially female abductees around that area, right around the time that women start to menstruate and start to produce eggs, is when these things happen. And I was right around that age. So, at that point, it hadn't happened yet. I hadn't started menstruating.
Okay.
It wasn't far behind. So,
well, that could be because it is my opinion through my research. And Al, tell me if my microphone's better for you now. He's my partner in crime, and he needs a hearing eye dog. But my microphone was apparently loud. I just want to make sure that the sound's better. But, this is important because if you're being abducted, guarantee your parents were abducted or other siblings, and I guarantee their parents were abducted. Now, they may not talk about it because they may not be aware of it. Mm-hmm. They may not have had a situation where you're hanging out in your friend's room and like, what the hell? Why is Julie on the floor naked in the ball?
Right.
Like, did we miss something? Yeah. Now, if you were in high school, totally different reasons for that. And exactly. I'm joking around, but it's true, right? So like what you're doing, right? So that's a totally, but they probably knew you were about to or checking you.
Well,
and when you,
I'm sorry,
yeah,
like, as far as the hybridization theory,
yeah,
it's like that would have been the prime time.
Well, yeah, because what they would do is they don't necessarily impregnate you at a young age, but your eggs are like perfect.
They will take them and then
we're going to store them right here, and we're going to put this one right here. So, because it's not unusual what you described on your back, it seemed like, and where it was on your back would be near where your fallopian tubes are, and in the body.
Thank you, Bryan. Thank you so much for understanding what I'm trying to do.
I understand you. I understand. And so I'm thinking that internally they gave you something to keep you under. I think it was a 2-part substance. And I think that's what I think this black gooey stuff is. I think the balls with the gooey stuff, I think those balls disintegrate internally, and then when they come up, it's black goo. Right. Or they somehow get, because some people don't have an ability to, they have an aversion to vomiting or whatever, or their system is not designed to pass it quickly enough. So I think you were given something to sedate you, but I think while they were doing something pretty, aggressive medically on your area. Mm-hmm. Especially with all the little dots, it's like, here, we'll hold you there. That locks you in. Mm-hmm. And then the little ones are picking out eggs. And once they're filled up, they pull back.
Right.
Seal you up with heat. And then, yeah.
I think that's absolutely a valid theory on that. But what's crazy about this is, again, more years pass. And I ran into a guy whose name I'm not going to say. One time who told me, because I was like, hey, I'm looking for more literature on this stuff, more alien stuff, encounters. And he goes, go to South Sarasota and go to all the used bookstores, go to the Goodwill bookstore. He's like, there's a ton of stuff all over there. And I'm like, why is that? And he told me that there used to be an alien related based cult in South Sarasota. Goes, there was. I know
there was.
He said when they disbanded, all that literature and all that stuff that they had hanging out in their houses, in their clubhouse or whatever, all went to those places. And sure as shit, he was right. I went there, and there was a lot of stuff there.
Freaking gold mine.
Yeah, gold mine. Yeah. So I get online and I start looking at like local forums, and there was a woman who lived out in Mayaca, who is older. When this happened to her, she was in her 20s. But what she said was almost identical to what happened to me, that had happened years ago. And same thing, but she was, she was an adult. She went to the doctor, and the doctor basically told her that it looked like a radiation burn to him. It didn't have all of the things that would match up, but that's what it was to him. He said, well, it looks like a radiation burn. So I tried to contact this woman, and her email address was no longer functioning.
Active, yeah.
Yeah, so I was never able to get in touch with her, but it happened to her around the same time that it happened to me. And that's one town over. So.
Oh, when they come back to pick up the ones they've implanted, we had a gentleman on named Tom Conwell. And he's a UFO researcher out of New York State. Great guy. And he's the only one that came up with, how the UFOs are here and then all of a sudden they disappear. Mm-hmm. And he says they're surveying and they're done. And that is the greatest explanation of they're sweeping back and forth their sectors they need. They surveyed, they got what they needed, they're done. Then they go down to the next sector. When they come and abduct people, be it male or females, they go around, they abduct more than one. It's not like they have like, they have like a pickup truck. And it's like, Get in. We've got day laborer work for you. And you get in you get in the craft, and from other people that have been abducted, they see this room and there are like 12 beds on it, and they see other human beings on the beds, and they're undergoing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's not unusual that the woman next, in the town over is like, she's getting pulled. And the problem is women have, this is a really touchy subject because it's very personalized and it borders on, and I apologize for the big term here, it's basically rape in many ways. And it goes for men and women. I mean, like, it's an unwanted touching. It's very personal. It's just really, really, so women, a lot of women feel a little bit like, I don't want to discuss this because it is, men would never discuss this. They just, not me.
It was displayed in communion in the self-help group.
Well, that's when people go get self-help, but a lot of people are not going to, it took me a while to discuss a certain Florida experience where you wake up and your ass hurts and it's like, oh, you got alien probed? I'm like, probably. Because that's how you get, if you want to get a quick sperm sample, that's why the alien probes thing is real, because it's the quickest way to get the sample immediately. There's no dinner and a movie, there's no show afterwards. It's just wham bam, we got the sample, let's go make some alien babies.
Right.
And the way they do it is it's the same thing. I don't think it's the same thing. It triggers the orgasm in females, but I don't think it doesn't release. That's why I'm saying with women, it's more like they're going in and
it's invasive. Yeah, it's extreme.
Yeah, and I feel so bad because I gotta say this quietly, everybody in my family when we were in North Carolina had that. We got taken. And I'm like, look, dude, you can mess with me and their mother, but do not touch my kids.
Yeah.
And I have 2 daughters, so I'm probably going to die soon. I'm only joking. They're going to keep me alive just to really screw me over. Mm-hmm. And I love them. But I really feel bad for you because you've on so many ends. You have that religious end with the family where like, I can't really talk about this.
Well, that's a thing though, is that my mom, she's still very religious, but she's not as protective, since I'm an adult now. But I ended up actually telling her about it years later, and her reaction was completely different than what I thought it was going to be. She goes, "Really?" She goes, "I saw a UFO when I was a teenager." And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." So, and my mom's not big on discussing things like that. I mean, now she's about it because I'm about it. She's like, that's really cool. But, when I first told her about it, she was just right off the bat. She's like, I saw a UFO when I was a teenager. I'm pretty sure that's what I saw.
She got abducted.
I know.
And you know what? I mean,
worry her, It
can be. No. People can't see. This is the problem with abductions. This is why they're so. People don't remember them. Why you couldn't handle it is because at the time you couldn't handle it. You're not emotionally stable enough to handle it. You're just discovering yourself. You're as a female, growing into womanhood. I got to be honest, having daughters, you guys can be evil to each other, and it's really difficult to travel the path. I kid you not. I have some of my really tight friends are females, and it's great. Because one of my friends that's friendly with them, he just gets uncomfortable when they say certain things like, oh, I think it's the time for the monthly. And he's like, I don't want to know. You can play around with him. But it's really tough to just, like my youngest is probably going to go through like, oh, my God, like, you're good. You're fine. It's natural. Don't worry about it.
We got this.
Roll Tide. Yeah, Roll Tide. But so you couldn't get in touch with this other person that had the experience. And so now you have years later when you're older, you get somebody to regress you. You understand that what took place there, you walk to this light in the craft. Do you remember coming back from that craft?
No. And I don't even know. I never at any point did I see, did I say anything about seeing a craft? It was just a very bright light. that I walk towards.
Yeah, that's how it is. It's very vague, but my buddy Al says thank you for talking about something so personal.
Absolutely.
It's really you're getting a marriage proposal, which you probably know the person, but
thank you, Brian. That's very nice of you.
yeah,
that Brian, not that Brian.
yeah, I know. But this is really important because I got to be honest. That was my first experience in this whole really weird world that we're in. Wasn't Bigfoot. It was UFOs.
Yeah, it was same for me.
And then I'm like, talk about a gateway drug, UFOs. That is a gateway drug. Okay.
That's and then that happened.
Yep. And then you realize, like, yeah.
I think also, especially with something happening like that at that age, it kind of opened me up to seeing more than, you go to school, you go to college, you get a degree, you go to work, it's like, no, I don't think you understand. There's weird shit out there. Does anybody else seeing this? And it kind of altered probably the entire way that I think.
Yeah, it definitely does. Mark, what would you do if you had something like that? And I'm sending prayers, healing, recovery, blessings to Diane, who's not feeling very well. So if everybody in chat could send her some prayers, hopefully we can heal her, in unison. But
praying for you, Diane. I don't think I would be as forthcoming as Julia is.
Well, maybe not at first, but like I said, it's been a long time.
Right. It's like,
it's like I don't even care anymore. Whatever.
Yeah.
From the little bit of reading I've done, it seems like there are some patterns that you've experienced. You get a little bit from Stan Gordon's Silent Invaders, with kind of like sudden appearances for a short period of time, and then they're gone. Maybe there are Bigfoot sightings associated with it. There's you do get kind of like overwhelmed for a brief period, and then it's done. And that goes back to Brian's example, where they're done with that area, and they go down to the next sector. I think Julia, your story seems very similar to X-File stories, and I think Chris Carter seemed like he wrote a lot of captivating stories that really weren't just out of his imagination. They're based on what he was reading about people's unexplained encounters, whether it's with the Peacock family or UFOs or some of the other monsters of the week. But
so,
I don't. Julia, I think you make you present your information in a very believable way. You have a captivating story. I just don't know. I think we have some interesting theories going on to explain what happened to you. What after enough time has passed since the event, how are you affected today? What's the lingering question you'd want
if
answered?
anything, I'm not upset about it anymore. I'm motivated. I was upset for probably 10 years after that happened. It used to be for years after that happened, if I got up, I was getting ready, I was getting in the shower, I looked at the base of my spine every single day. And I still occasionally I'm like, all right, we're good. But now it's like, you know what? I'm going to keep looking into this stuff, because part of what I'm trying to do now, because I see so many similarities between cryptids and experiences and what people describe. I'm like, to me, this seems like it's almost all part of the same thing.
It's all tied together.
It's all tied together, which is what I'm working on, Brian. I was telling you about, like a TikTok series that I want to do.
John Keel thought that too.
That's linking all of these things.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a question after this, but I just want to get some of these questions in from the audience members. Mm-hmm. Paranormal Newfoundland says, Julia, have you contacted Granite Sky Services with Mike Stevenson, granitesky.org, in relationship to your experience? And then she followed up with, or Karen Wilkinson stolen seed evil harvest. That's
I have not.
Okay. So these are individuals that look heavily into this, hence stolen seeds, evil harvest.
Sorry about the vaping.
No, it's all right. I'm thinking about a smoking you. This isn't for kids, okay? So actually, it's for anybody that really wants to know some stuff, and we're adults and we're allowed to do it.
I like this podcast.
Yeah. So Michelle Brandenburg, who's a psychic herself on the Paranoid, she says, question, radiation burns. I've had those. They did hurt and disappeared approximately 1 week later. Do you mind explaining your radiation marks to help me understand? My marks were 3 dots.
So mine, it was, like I said, it's about yay big here. Head for scale. About yay big. It was 1 circle in the middle that had a diagonal slash through it. And then there were 6 or 7 little symbols around it. I guess that's the best way I can explain it. And honestly, look up crop circles, Google it right now, and it probably looks something like that. That's the best way.
Like the circle with the little circles around it, like looked like a clock, but it was like other, like sometimes they're half circles or quarter moon or what, like that kind of stuff.
Similar, something like that.
Okay.
And some of them, like I see, because it was on my back, I didn't spend as much time looking at it as my friends did, but they were like, it was for sure. I definitely remember the one in the middle with the diagonal slash, and then just weird symbols, not things I could necessarily recognize at the time.
Are you able to identify that symbol?
If someone held up a drawing, of it right now,
you probably could. Like, I think it like that, right? Because it's so long ago.
Yeah, the general idea of it I can tell you, but the specific things around it, I don't think I could remember anymore.
So this is where her love for tattoos came in. That's it. It was the first. It was a fucking ET tattoo.
Holy shit!
Look at the ink, buddies. Look at that. Look at that ink. No. It's just a joke. We always joke about it because some people actually do. They get markings and really weird symbols. It's kind of like if you've ever seen any of those star like the weird movies, like with they just make these marks and whatever, and they probably have meaning behind it. So maybe it was like. I'm thinking on this, and I'm trying to tap into this. It seems as almost it was like a combination of the machine they were using was labeled on there. That was part of the character. We used X. This is subject ba ba ba, and we took X, Y, and Z. And someplace in the symbols.
I've never thought about that, but I really, really like where you're going with it. That's something I should definitely look more into.
Because like. The aliens, we all look alike. Okay. Joking around, but it's the truth, right? Yeah. So how do they know who they tagged and who they bagged, and maybe there's a similarity in the tracker for like mom, dad, and each kid, and then they catalog it.
Well,
you know,
and especially, I know I don't have to explain this to you guys, but I mean, for anybody who doesn't know, a lot of times the grays are said to be completely emotionless, robotic-like creatures. So no, they wouldn't distinguish or care. We look like cattle, basically. So it's like, here, ear tag them real quick so we can pull it up later.
Yeah, but it's basically, you're right. It is like an ear tag, but if you're doing things on a scientific scale, you have to know, like, it may have said not ready yet.
Right.
And there may be something where they may be using a radiation thing or some kind of laser which has radiation on it, and burning it in so that if X, Y, and I don't want to say they tagged you like you're my cattle, but I kind of sometimes I think extraterrestrials think we're like their meat or their cattle in certain instances. Like if you have two rival extraterrestrial groups, that they'll know, like, oh, they already got the Andromedans got her, so we can't use her.
Well, there's a lot of people who think that, not all of the different extraterrestrial races are the same, and some of us are not here. Some of them are not here to hurt us. Some of them are absolutely here to take over and destroy.
Yeah,
a bunch.
And they're not nice, but
they don't care.
No, they don't. They're a lot more aggressive. And I'm gonna say reptilians, insectoids, the mantis. They're really, really aggressive. They're
nasty creatures. I know.
Yeah. Whereas then you get like everybody always picks the blue avian. I'm a blue avian. Oh, okay.
Screw that, man. I'm going with the Pleiadians. I like them.
They're cool. The Nordics are cool, but like, every time someone says I'm a blue avian, I'm gonna go with whatever. I'm like, oh, where do you buy your weed? But you know what? I don't know. See, this is one thing. I had 2 times of missing time, and I choose not to be regressed. After talking to a friend of mine out in the West Coast, who he said, if you're sleeping okay and you don't have do you have bad nightmares or dreams? When you sleep after that, do you remember those at all, or no? It was just life kind of went on its way. The reason behind that,
I'm a fairly lucid dreamer. I'm pretty much always aware if I'm dreaming, and like I can wake myself up. Yeah, I can wake myself up from a bad dream. So a lot of times if you were trying to penetrate my subconscious, it might be kind of hard because I'm
right. So you vibrate at a higher level than others. Sometimes when you have bad nightmares and dreams after an encounter, that's your subconscious leaking, and you can't handle what took place. Right. I mean, like we said this before,
blocking something out. Yeah.
Right. I'm going to say this, and I don't know for sure, but I'm going to wager that if we went back and we actually had access to all the information, who has what, I will wager your eggs were used to produce offspring, and you do have children.
I've heard of that, and the people that get brought up to see what they were experimenting with.
And then hold their child or meet their child. Some people can't handle that shit. I kid you not. Like they see an insectoid and they're like, no.
I have been doing this for so long. It's like, all right, is that all you got? Is that as weird as working?
Yeah, well, that's why, and that's why you're vibrating at higher frequency. You're open to more things. You're not. They talk about 3D and 4D and 5D. You're more in the 4D, 5D zone because you're like, hey, if I have extraterrestrial kids, it's so be it,
Cool.
And I'm gonna get my tax break on you guys. So that's why I want to know them.
Independent or
yeah, Julia. It says that your son's he's a Venusian. Yes. I don't see his father anymore.
The father's no longer in the picture.
Bastard. Yeah. So, but and then what happens is as you go through more of these experiences, and they know that you psychologically can handle it, they let you remember more. So, and they do it through sometimes vivid dreams, or I call them experiences, dreams, experiences where the full detail, like they're reading your bookshelf. Like I could read every book in the, that was there in your bookshelf. You were there. Stevie was there. Boom, boom, boom. That's because you're actually having the experience sometimes. But most people couldn't even handle this. They can't even handle life as it is, let alone to know that you've got 6 extraterrestrial children, and did you ever, I'm going to ask you a question and then we'll get into the Bigfoot zone if you don't mind with,
yeah.
Did you ever come across meeting like a really weird looking child, big eyes, or somebody just staring at you from a distance? Like, wow, that's weird. Like they stare at you like they know you, and you're like, what's this kid looking at me for?
I've never had anything like that.
Okay.
But I'm a little. I don't have any kids, so I'm a little weird interacting with kids sometimes too. I don't know how to talk to them, so they're all kind of weird to me, I guess. No.
I understand that. The reason why I'm saying it is because there are certain times this happens as well, that they let the children come down to visit their parents, and they stay at afar.
Yeah.
Just to see their mom, or because there's part of a human involved in this creation of, there's the ET behind my head right there. I have running in the background, but it's a hybrid, and usually they have extremely large eyes. They look like the Bratz dolls.
Yeah.
And it's just, I've seen kids, like I've had people stare at me like, I wish I was, and I don't really want to be famous. I want the money into that fame so I can buy more guitars and have it's a totally different thing. But I've had people look at me and I'm like, I have to go to other people. I'm like, do I have like asshole written on my forehead or something like that? Was something strange on me? Like, no, you look fine. And these people are looking at me as if I'm, like you would look at a celebrity or someone famous, or it's weird. I can't explain other than that.
Well, certain people put out certain types of energy that other people notice it, or they're attracted to it and they don't know why. People are just kind of like that anyway, but but specifically to there being, a child staring at me like that nothing like that's ever happened.
Okay. I'm just, because sometimes that happens with people. And then sometimes when what I just explained to you, that kind of staring and knowing, like, because I've seen certain people, I'm like, I know this person from something.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a theory that when you were on the craft, you're all in the same room.
Right.
So you remember, and I have a photographic memory. And then you're talking, okay, here we go. So you're going to have kids. So I don't want to know what's going on, but
excuse me. Okay, Brian Alford, you know damn well you don't want kids, so off of it, man.
Just get a puppy, they're cheaper.
Yeah.
Well, I have the ability to play. I'm just going to do this. I do certain things with the screen. I can run things in the background. So this is all cryptids. So that's why I'm running it. And there's Bigfoot coming up, and Bigfoot with an extra, an alien. So I run that. If I step out of the way, you'll see it better. But it's kind of cool that, and I kind of believe in the theory that here comes Bigfoot. That's a possibility that they could remember me, and that's why we're all looking at each other like, I know you. I know, like, where do I know you? And some people are more awake. I mean, I really don't care. I joke around. My buddy Al I investigate in New York area with him, and I always joke around when he wakes up. He goes, I think I was abducted last night. I go, did you get my keys? They're in room 72-3. Yeah, I left them up there. And make those jokes, but because you can't.
Yeah, I mean, all this stuff, like it started with the alien stuff, but then it also, to me, that I've noticed, and I don't know how other people don't really see this, but it leaks into the Bigfoot stuff.
Yeah. So how does this segue for you into Bigfoot land? Like,
well,
big hairy guy. That's,
right. It's just with people. I noticed that there was a high rate of people who call into, their local police station, and they say, I've been I saw a big light in the sky. And so like, oh, I think I saw a UFO. But then at some other point, 10 minutes later, somebody will call the police station and go, I saw a big light out in the woods. I think I saw Bigfoot. So it kind of started with that whole correlation between the lights, people seeing lights and everything. And then also like, lapses of time. There's just so much that intertwines with it. Electronics glitching in and out anytime they have an experience, which I've got a lot on that too. That's one of the reasons that I wanted to talk to you, though, is about the orbs, because people report all the time seeing orbs when they have Bigfoot encounters, also with alien encounters. It happens with cryptids across the board.
So because we're talking here, it's so much easier to do this. So I'm going to give you from my research and my personal experience about some of the stuff you just mentioned. I'm not here to take over. I'm just trying to explain it so you understand. I was a flesh and blood Bigfoot guy for a long time. Mm-hmm. And then we had an amazing encounter in upstate New York in a lake. And you had to hike the lake, and it was 2 miles to get to the top of it. And we were getting the tree knocks. We were getting the rock knocks. Like there was communication going by. And we had a bluff charge, and one of the guys ran his ass off, and he would have died if Al didn't grab him, and like stand your ground. There was no place to go for me. I'm like, I'm not outrunning it. I'm not going into that radioactive water that they have there, because there was a radioactive accident in this lake area. That's now a park for kids. Like, hey, what a come to, your kids will be glowing with excitement. And then we had. This kept going back to tree knocks and the rock knocks, and eventually we weren't moving. There were three of us, and this is exactly what happened. And you'll understand this because I know you do play music and certain instruments. It was whoop, 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 same cadence, reverberating off your chest as if Lemmy was up there going boom, Ace of Spades, and like you're at a concert and you feel it. And it went from
I've experienced that.
Whoop, whoop. The third whoop was the other end of the lake in an instant. Now, I was always into the sciences, UFOs, planets, extraterrestrial aliens, astronomy. And I studied when I went to school, physics at the beginning of string theory. I've read a lot of books about it too, and astronomy. And we talked about portals, and that was something we had many discussions, like what is a black hole, a portal, blah, blah, whatever. The only way, in my personal opinion, and this is going to explain so much, that this creature can go from point A, where we are, in an instant to point B, is if it has the ability to open a portal, step in, and then come out where it wants.
For instance, the 1 or 2 footprint thing that happens all the time too. How come there's just 1, 2, and then it's gone? It's like it's gone in the middle of an iced lake, like nothing. Oh, this is so much easier than the conversations that I have sometimes with people.
But this is where it came from. So this explains a lot. Now you got to understand something. I'm going to use this as an example. When you want to convert one form of energy to another. You need more of that energy in order to make the conversion into the other. So let's say electric into atomic, or, some form of it. You need a ton of electric material. Here's the great thing. You need a ton of electric material to play around with the rods that you make nuclear power. That's why the conversion is always, it's not good. It's sometimes easier just to have electricity. And in the process of the conversion, you get to an event horizon where you stop and you get into that sphere. So if we're going, think of a plane. You're flying, right? You build up more and more speed because you want to go through the sound barrier. So you're building using all this gas, all this energy. You hit the sound barrier, then you get that boom. Yeah. And then you're flying as fast as the speed of sound. It's the same thing that happens with these creatures. I believe they have an innate ability to be flesh and blood if they want. And then they can through the use of it's actually soft physics. They use that as a defensive mechanism to create a camouflage, like the predator cloak,
like cloaking. Yeah,
right. And then they can also, as they go from flesh and blood into a different form of energy or electricity, orbs or lights, and when they transfer over, you always get the sparks and like I saw a light or an orb, but they also become energy orb, and then they slowly dissipate, and then they go interdimensional.
Yeah, that's interdimensional. That's what at this point I am absolutely. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying I'm really set on this because there's no other way to explain it. And it's like, oh, it's a biological creature. It's like, so the government has disclosed that there is non-human intelligence crafts flying around, but you don't believe that this creature out here might have the same abilities. It's like, come on.
And I was actually doing an interview with Brothers of the Arcana, which may be very one, and they're brother friends of mine. And one time in the show, I was explaining to them the innate ability. If you did not know what the hell an octopus was and you walked up on it and it started changing its shape, its color, its form, you'd be like, that thing's not from this planet.
Exactly.
It has an innate ability. And then think about this. When you were born, how the hell do you know to breathe? You have an innate ability to breathe.
Yeah.
So this explains so much because I've seen trail cam images of something. It gets blurry. It's like very quick. It gets blurry. And then there's like a bright white image. That's the energy being expended to transfer into a different form. And then they're gone. Okay. Here's the cool part. Normally, we already know through Tesla, we have free energy around the planet. It's all wireless. That's how your wireless technology charging works on the phone, by the way. These Bigfoot are pulling energy from the universe to change at will. Sometimes you see them half Bigfoots. Like, it's like, where's its legs? It looks like it's invisible.
And you see people that talk about, they're like, I saw it running across the road, but it's almost like it was glitching.
Yeah, well, that's because it's going in and out of the camo mode because it doesn't want to be seen. But here's the cool part, right? So the Patterson-Gimlin film is great, and I don't believe about all the other BS with it. I'm not going to get involved in it. I know the people that are involved in it, and I don't like it, and that's something privately we can discuss, But the reason why that film is the preeminent film is because that camera used zero electronics.
Right.
And what happens is, this happens on ghost hunting too. This is the common thread through the whole thing. You're there with your camera. You're like, oh my God, it looks like a Bigfoot, right? Brand new battery pack. There's a battery belt, whatever it is. Bigfoot is going to suck up whatever free energy it can. And so now your battery goes, and like, I have no battery left. He's using your own damn battery to transform himself.
Well, so with that TikTok series that I'm in, like pre-production stuff for right now, that's actually, I've got one whole episode, if that's what you want to call it, that is just all about how electronics are affected across the board with ghosts, with aliens, with Bigfoot, with all of it. It's like, how come no one can get a good picture? It's like, because it's screwing with the electronics. It has the ability to suck that power out of it.
It knows what it is. They know that it's a camera. They know that the camera has power in it. I'm going to use that. Okay. Once they do that, the lens on these things it requires electricity. So the blob squats you're getting is because they're purposely draining whatever it is by the camera. They can literally select what they want to drain, and they're draining your camera. That's why you're getting a blob squatch. The case in point, because they're aware of it. It's only the times that you get Bigfoot unaware of that there's a camera there. Case in point was, I think, out west, they had the eagle camera. So it was all the way high up in the eagle's nest, and they were having baby eagles. And then at the bottom in the corner, you see this Bigfoot kind of popping along, like, I'm having a great day. And he does some weird things. And it's pretty clear because he's not paying attention that there's a camera there. He has no reason to say, I need to be in camouflage. I need to block this out. So this is where you get the better images of them. Or at such a great distance that they can affect your energy field around you. This is also why some people get faint, because it's not just the infrasound, it's they're playing around with your electricity, which makes you who you are.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's, you know, these, again, I just want to say that it's really nice to be able to have a conversation about this and not a debate, because
no, I'm with you. I'm 100% with you.
No,
Yeah.
I'm learning a
People
lot.
don't give enough credit to the woo.
Yeah. They don't give you the woo.
They don't get the woo.
No, they don't. But this explains so much about why you would see certain things at certain points in time, and why. Here's another thing. This is, you were talking about UFOs associated with Bigfoot. Okay. I lived in New York City, and I would take Metro North, which is not like a subway, but it's like a commuter train. Mm-hmm. And all of them would go into Grand Central Station. So they had 100 tracks coming in. And usually you're on the same track every day. And in the process of that, you know, while you're waiting for the train, like, oh, that guy is going to Connecticut. You just kind of remember people getting on and off certain trains. And you know the Connecticut train, you know, like, oh, he's going to Long Island or whatever it is. And you see people and you're like, oh, I've seen this guy before. You know you're in the right zone because your train is really usually next to the Connecticut train or whatever it is. So if this creature, this cryptid, I have a cryptid creature right now licking the back of my thigh, my calf. Yeah, if this creature is able to travel interdimensionally, and we do believe that UFOs can do the same thing. Mm-hmm. UFOs are in there interdimensionally, and then they see a Bigfoot hanging around like, what the hell is that? Abduct it. And that's what they do. They abduct everything. So they're abducting Bigfoots. They're doing the same experimentation on them that they're doing to humans. They're like, why are they here? You know, because humans don't necessarily, we have the ability to do that, but we don't. We're not at that stage yet in evolution. But so the ETs are abducting these Bigfoots, doing their experiments, and they're like, okay, you guys are cool. We'll just let you out here. And that's why sometimes you see them coming out of a craft or associated with UFOs. That's just my 2 cents.
Right. Okay. Yeah. It's definitely that I can get on board with. I agree with it. I kind of think, you know how sometimes people think that, like, these are all separate things. Like, Mothman is not Bigfoot. Bigfoot is not aliens. It's like, what if it appears to people? What if certain creatures, these cryptids, appear to people different ways? Because it's like a way that their brain can process it, or the way that they're going to accept it. You know, I kind of think sometimes that's a thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, think about this, right? I'm starving. Sorry, Brian. A couple more minutes, and then you guys can go eat on your date.
First of all right, Brian.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
He lives in another state. He's just being a pain.
It's okay. You know what? Al that usually comes on goes in, oh, this blabbermouth again. I'm like, F you, get out. He said on Michelle's show, he goes, hey, Brian, how many fingers am I holding up? And I said 1, you know.
He would like that.
He would. It's just fun. This is what we do as investigators because we believe in these things and people think we're crazy. We might as well have some fun. But it's like, you ever hear the story of or an encounter people had with UFOs or Bigfoot? And we could have, like, you could be there, that other Brian could be there, Mark could be there, whatever. And we're standing in the woods and you're like, he's right there. And you're seeing him. And Mark's like, I don't see anything. There's trees right here. I'm telling you, he's right in front of knowing you. I think you can be turned on and off selectively, kind of like a mixing board. Great analogy. Let's put on certain channels. Right. And then some people they're told to see it because it may be a precursor warning, like, hey, we're coming down to abduct some semen from you and tell your wife to get ready because we're getting eggs from her. And that's why you can see it. Or you're at, like I talk about vibration a lot. You're vibrating in such you're above all the people, and they're like, okay, I can deal with you because you're cool.
Yeah, that's something I actually just discussed with someone not that long ago about, is that I think some people have the ability to see it. I don't know if it's just a part of the brain that got opened up at some point or something happened to you at some point, but it's like, I think some people just have the ability to see this stuff, and not everybody does because they don't want to, or maybe something hasn't happened yet, or they haven't seen anything weird enough yet to be open to it.
Yeah. I'll order a pizza, Bryan. DoorDash it. Only joking. Yeah, you know what? My experience, like, we go out with Stevie and Chris and a few others. It's like, I think the ultimate for me would be that telepathic communication.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seeing one, like really seeing one up close and personal, that would be great. But to be able to say, how old are you, dude? Like, what are you? Where do you come from? And have that kind of dialogue back and forth.
And there's those people, I mean, I've seen enough documentaries, the people that have the mind speak. They're like, they live on my property. At first it was, real scary, but they've been here for so long. I respect them. They respect me. We don't really have any problems anymore. It's like, well, but they don't talk like this. They mind speak, it's in your head.
And it's just, I would figure you craft a relationship if you treat them with the respect as well, too. It's like, look, don't take those. I'll leave some, I'll plant an extra, half acre of corn for you or so, whatever.
Yeah, eat that. Don't eat the rest of my crops.
Yeah, leave the damn cat alone, because they do like, they will eat dogs and cats. I'm just telling you straight up, rabbits. Like the rabbits as well, right? Were you seeing rabbits as well?
Mm-mm.
Were you the one?
Mm-mm.
I could have sworn there was one point I'm seeing rabbits fucking everywhere now.
Oh, that's okay. I posted something on Instagram because I saw that wasn't the only rabbit that I saw that day. I live like in a pretty downtown city area. I mean, by the water, especially like by the beach. Here. Yeah, like right by the beach. And I might have seen like one rabbit in that neighborhood in the years I've lived there. On that walk, I saw like 4 or 5 rabbits. And
this is only recently I'm seeing rabbits, and I just parked my car. I live in New York City. I live in the Bronx.
Yeah.
Well, I have a place in the Bronx. I parked my car. I walked past the front entrance of the building to go to my building, and there's a baby bunny right there. And I'm like, I'm talking to Julia tonight, and there's a fucking rabbit right there.
There's a rabbit. I know. I'm seeing them down here too, and it's weird because I don't see them in my part of town.
Well, sometimes with this stuff, it's like, is this a sign? Is this a precursor of something? Is it, I mean, it's really like we were just talking about that.
I noticed stuff like that. I'm like, oh, there we go.
Yeah.
There's those connections.
Don't you see it's a fucking rabbit right there? Like, what are you drinking tonight?
Yeah, Julia, you said you were at the West Virginia Bigfoot Museum.
I was at the West Virginia Bigfoot Festival. I went into the museum. I went out there with Mike Familants with his show Shadow of Big Red Eye it's a YouTube channel. He's an investigator. We went down there and spent the weekend. He was speaking at the event. It was very, very hot, but I'm not going to complain given your current situation in West Virginia.
Yeah.
It's brutal up here right now. It's like it's worse than Florida up here right now.
But what did I think? Dug out the Braxy poster from the museum next door, but
Flatwoods Monster.
Yeah. But with those two museums, so close together, you have Andrew Smith there, very, very knowledgeable
Mhm.
to talk about the Flatwoods monster case. What are you learning of, by talking to the people at the museums, because you are not just um, learning theories from a book and applying it to what someone tells you. You are reading, obviously, with all the books behind you, but you are also going to museums, talking with people, doing your own research. So you have a more comprehensive background uh, to your studies. What did you learn something different at the West Virginia Bigfoot Museum? It happened to be some. Did you make some correlations with Florida skunk ape? How did that experience extend your knowledge?
Well, I would say I got to meet all kinds of different researchers, all
Mhm.
kinds of different people that are out there making documentaries and films and all those types of things. I mean, I learned more about the Flatwood monsters than I ever knew, obviously, because it took place right next to the Flatwoods. So,
Right.
kind of started looking into that a little bit. But honestly, one of the things that Mike was doing at the festival was at night we were bringing out groups of people who had never been on a Bigfoot hike before. They had never gone out there trying to look. And what I noticed, because I helped them with a lot of those hikes, helped organize it and bring people and make sure everybody's safe, is that people who have never been exposed to that before, they have never been on one of those hikes, or, I mean, barely been on a hike, let alone one looking for Bigfoot. Those people are a lot more open to things than people who have been doing this for a long time. And
Yeah.
I miss that enthusiasm in people.
Yeah, it's actually very interesting. And by the way, since we're talking about West Virginia, I did pick up this butterscotch moonshine in Pennsylvania at the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash. I put this in my kids' pancakes or French toast. They have
Oh,
a
the
great day at
alcohol
school.
burn off. It's fine.
Yeah, they come home like, Dad, I got a headache now. I'm like, well, have a little bit of the night. Only joking. I'm going to be
Have a
getting
bit of the
CPS.
shine, buddy.
Have a little bit of shine. Dad, what's Dad making outside back? Don't worry about it. But yeah, it's I'm excited I'm excited every time we get out to go on a real good investigation with good people. And I mean, after the Stevie incident, going out with Stevie, Chris, and Carol, out in the woods, and we were walking for a long, long time. I was like, well, fat ass, are you going to sit there from now on, or are you going to do some exercise? So you have to do a little bit more exercise, but it's just everybody wants the same kind of thing. They want that encounter, and they want the, like back and forth. It's like building a relationship. It's like dating. Like, oh, do you like chocolate? Okay, cool. I like chocolate. Do you like this? And you're trying to craft a relationship with this cryptid that can totally kill you.
Yes.
It is massive.
If it wanted to, but you don't really hear, I mean, except for all those people that go missing in the woods, and maybe it's that, but
seriously.
A lot of times the people that have those experiences, like you said, that you were bluff charged when you were out by that lake. There's so many stories. You listen to, how many podcasts do you listen to where people are telling their Bigfoot stories, and they're like, and it bluff charged me. He's like, I thought I was dead. The thing came running at me and then turned at the last second.
Well, the reason why it it was trying to. My assessment was it was trying to get us out of the area.
Yeah, it
So
doesn't
it's
want to kill you.
right. No, its family on the other side of the lake that they was communicating with can get there.
Yeah.
And the three whoops at the end of it, well, what happened after bluff charge, then the three whoops, I think it was saying, hey, there's three of them, because there was three of us. And I always say this, take the long way home. And then at the end of it, because we didn't leave and we weren't moving, we were stubborn. The way we're sitting, if you looked at us, I was sitting on the right, 10 feet from next to me, it would be Al. 10 feet from him was Bill. Bill got the bluff charge. Al is protected by all these rocks. I'm a little bit more in the open. Mm-hmm. And then you heard the crash coming through the woods, and this boulder hits the ground, roll, hit my chair, and I flew out 10 feet. Yeah. I was like, what the F was that? Big, I'm a big boy. I used to be able to bench press a whole bunch. But this was big. And that was kind of like, I hate you guys. I hate you, one of those moments. Well, but yeah, he could have killed me if he wanted to.
Right. But most of the time it's like this creature, I don't think by nature wants to murder people. I think it wants to be, for the most part left alone. And it's like, get out of here. I'm going to throw some rocks at you. That's a warning. Okay. You're still not out of here. Then maybe I'll let you see me. And then after that, maybe, whatever it wants to do, because you don't really have a choice at that point.
No, you don't. But I mean, I've heard some encounters, especially with women, because they're cycling, and it's the younger Sasquatch, Bigfoot. They're getting excited, and it's just like
that's what Stevie and Chris always say. They're like, it always happens to the to the women when we bring the female members of the crew out. It's like it always happens when the girls are around.
You may want to call the bartender and order an angel shot because, yeah, I mean, a big, we'll get the big one. It's not a joke. And then the problem is, at that moment, even if you're planning on staying there longer or whatever, you have a critical situation where you have to kind of get people out. Or, I'm 6'1", nothing like these things are, and stand your ground, because that's what they would do. My first encounter was in summer camp, by the way. It was at 3:00 in the morning, northwestern Connecticut, and all the lights off from my bunk. And I got up, I smelled that skunky smell, but I'm used to it being in Connecticut with skunks. And in the 3-foot window was a Bigfoot, and it was doing this. Like it was looking around.
Man.
And it was dark enough that I couldn't see it fully, but there's a big gorilla in my window, and you can see the brow and the thicker nose. And I'm like, what the hell is that? Mm-hmm. So, and that's unnerving too.
Yeah. Well, good on you for staying calm at that age, because that would have been a shrieker. 10. Yeah. That would have been a shrieker for me at 10 years old.
Well, it would have sucked for Billy Carmen below me, because I definitely would have been peeing on him at that point. But I wasn't thinking Bigfoot, because everything we've learned at that point was on the Pacific Northwest. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize we had Bigfoot here until long after. And I was like, holy shit, we got more Bigfoot on the East Coast. And then the skunk ape and the Ohio grassman, different. Things are different than out on the West Coast.
Well, I'm looking to kind of make North Carolina my home base. I've been to the UREs a couple times. I'll be there. I'll be at the UREs Bigfoot Festival the end of next month.
Okay.
But I don't know if you've ever been up that way or spent time in the UREs, but man, there is more activity of every kind imaginable up there. I don't know, Julie Wrench, if you're watching, I got your email the other day with the audio clips of whatever is stalking your backyard. That's terrifying.
I'll tell you, some of them I'm all right with. I still hate the dog man, which is basically it looks like a werewolf, but it doesn't change into a werewolf. It has the same innate ability as the Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And I've been too close to two of them, and one of which scared the shit out of my. I was taking people on to see a Bigfoot area, and I didn't know it was overgrown. because I hadn't been in New York the whole time.
Mm.
And they went on to the dogman side of the equation, and the two people that I took won't talk to me at all. They were not prepared for any of that.
Yeah.
Which goes to show you that, like what I'm saying before, is even when you go to see a Bigfoot, you really may not be prepared for what you get. You know,
Yep. Yeah,
it's
make
not
sure you
like
know what you're asking for.
yeah, because it could be bad. But I can't wait. Like I know Stevie right now is in Ocala.
Mhm.
He's been there for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would have been here. And Chris is still here. I think Chris is still here. Then again, he may be on a case someplace else in Ocala or whatever it is.
Yeah, Chris is here. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's great. Everybody, you know, I remember saying, you know, I was going to have Stevie and I'm like, and, you know, invite Chris on because that's who we were with. And now that you're on there, it'd be like, we should just do a whole show with a panel where everybody just sits there.
Be like the
and just
Brady
tells their
Bunch with
shit.
all the squares
Yeah, yeah.
all the way around.
The Brady.
Yep.
And Bigfoot too in the middle. We'll put a
Yeah,
Bigfoot in the middle.
We can do that.
That would be great. We can do that. Can't we figure that out?
I'm sure
We should do that. But it would be, it's really interesting because I love hearing from other researchers, their experience. Now, when they went to the location on the West Coast, and I couldn't make it, that was like, hey, we're going to do this investigation. Oh, that's Easter. I'm like, okay, we can't. No, that's Mother's Day. I'm like, we can't do it, whatever. So I couldn't do it because my daughter graduated from high school. So we had a high school and we had family coming in. But I told him, I said, I do remote viewing. So I said, I'll remote view it. So that night I sat there and I started doing it. And I started telling him, I mean, he has texts. We'll get him. He can show them to you. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, from what I understand, Chris was like, you believe this crap? You know, he was like, do you really believe this stuff, right? And I actually drew a certain passageway where if they went straight, they'd come into a mama. And on the left-hand side, they were coming off of a side into this roadway. And on the left, they were hearing noise. And there's a roadway on the left, and then there's another spot. And I said, those are two like hooligan kids. And the mother kept looking down like, what the hell are you kids up to tonight? You know, like a typical mom. And Chris was like, and I said, Chris took out, you know, I saw him with we go in with firearms, folks. If we have them, it's not the Bigfoot. It's, you know, the hogs and whatever else is out there.
Yeah.
The banditos.
So. Hogs, coyotes, wolves, right. Crazy people.
Welcome to Florida, folks. Crazy people. So, and then I always say in my mind's eye, like, this is not for you. This is for the other predators that think we're prey, and we'll leave it with you, you know? But so I tell him all these things. I drew out the location, everything. And it was at the moment, Stevie go, oh, you're good. You're really good. You have no idea. Because they didn't, you know? He's on, you know, at that point, apparently, Chris was saying, like, do you believe all this stuff, this remote viewing crap or whatever it is? He goes, here. And everything they experienced was there.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting on my back. It's a back porch, but they call it a lanai so they can charge you more money in Florida. It's a fucking back porch. And Chris was like, and I got everything. Even him, there was an incident where he heard something and he was being on a defensive end of protecting, you know, whatever. So I do it all the time. And I think hopefully we can all meet up and then do it sometime, you know, eventually when you're not going to conferences or doing what you do, because it'd be really cool to try using your mind and your conscious for a couple minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Before I forget, I hate to.
Yeah. No. Keep going. I'm going to shut up now.
So no. So this is something that I heard you say on one of your episodes, and it was about using your consciousness out there rather than all the gadgets and all this, you know, all the tools and all the electronics. And that's the way that I have always had the most luck. Is by I can feel it, Brian. I'm telling you, I can feel it. There's something out there, and I'm like, just hold still. Let me think for a second, you know. And that's the way I have always done it too. And you are one of the only other people that I have met so far that is like, no, use use this.
This
These
works.
are the things that work. Yeah.
And
It's like
what's really great is you have an artistic ability about you, as well as musical and your background and some other stuff. That means, and again, I'll say it again, women use both hemispheres. So I'm sure like weird things happen when girls go through their cycles and they're teenagers and stuff flies and telekinesis, and they're using two hemispheres to tap into things. You're going to tap into it quicker than anybody else that's male. I'm just saying in general, and it is really important. And I think before we go out there, I told Stevie, I said, listen, we need to sit there in a huddle and literally meditate for 15 minutes, brother.
Yeah, that's man. Because I'll do it on my own, even if nobody else knows that's what I'm doing. Because I'm putting it
Same
out
here.
there.
Same
yeah,
here.
buddy.
Yep.
That's what's up.
I'm gonna get Mark out there. I may use him as bait though, but I wouldn't use him as bait. Right?
He's just
Mark
down there
is in
minding
West
his
Virginia.
business.
He's got a ton of these things there too. So, and he's got some other ones that are get a little bit more aggressive towards him.
Yeah, the vegetable man or grass man is just across the in Ohio. Vegetable man's only about 2 hours away. So Mothman's about a little over 3 hours. So
right,
I'm in a good location. Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of activity up there for sure.
Yeah, the Bashful Billy was just a couple miles away. That was the same night as part of the same.
The Flatwoods Monster.
Flatwoods.
The same crash as the Flatwoods Monster.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's really interesting when I see the Flatwoods Monster. I think of those old things they used to do, like old movies we'd see like on TV. You know, like let's all go to the lobby to get some treats. You know, it's like some weird creature. I've seen some. You know, I've seen a dog man. Had many experiences with a Bigfoot. But I always tell people, like, just because you're going into an area where there are Bigfoots and there's been past history there, doesn't mean you're going to have an encounter or an experience.
Yep. Most of the time you don't.
Right. And I thoroughly believe that sometimes when you bring individuals that don't resonate the right way, don't vibrate right, you know, they know it. They can, and they're like, F this crap. I'm not staying here if that person's going to be here. Mm-hmm. And so you won't have an experience. But, you know, I think they're entertained by Chris being like, so, and it's that New York, you know, he's going, and it's a drummer in him too.
Well, he's
right?
high energy. He's woo. He's go.
I'm Chris.
You know?
We're here. We're now. But I think they love that because it's real. Mm-hmm. You know, Stevie's real. We've never met in person yet. I know we're going to. You're real. A lot of the people that are in here that I know are friends of you. We're real people. We're done with BS. We're done with the crap. This is what we do, and we're serious, but we also, you know how to do it the right way, mm-hmm. where we don't have to be run after by a werewolf behind our heads right there. You don't want to meet that thing, the dog man or whatever. And I got to be honest. What's your opinion? Do you think the skunk ape and the Bigfoot are one and the same, or something different?
I think it's just like different races of people. You've got all kinds of different races of people. I think there's different races of Bigfoots as well.
Okay, we're on the same page on that one.
Is it? Yeah, is it Bigfoots or is it big feet?
I don't know. I got a Hyundai. I have no idea. Big feet, Bigfoot.
Big feet. Big
well, it's some people like Sasquatch, and then you go Sasquatches.
Well, it's regional. That's a regional thing too. You know.
Some people, you know, they'll call them, like up in Connecticut, they call them wild man. Mm-hmm. The wild man, because they're, you know, hairy beasts that look like men when they do it. Female intuition is a real thing. So yes, it is, Lisa, 100%. This is why mothers know a lot of stuff about their kids without them even saying, like, where were you?
Right.
I was just at the library. No, you weren't. Get in here. I'm like, shit. So is there an experience, because we're getting close to the end time and I don't want to keep you too long, but is there a Bigfoot? I want you to come back if that's all right with you right off the
I would love
bat.
to. Yeah.
And please, so we can, because I love the interaction, the exchange of information, because I think, there's things I'd like to say, but I can't do it on forums like this because I'll be shut down pretty fucking quick.
Yeah.
And I don't, I don't need that. I don't this is not monetized. The only thing that's on there is like a little, like buy me a cup of coffee type of shit. I'm doing this to make everybody's life better for a few moments or more and help as many people. That's why, but I want to bring in real people to do that, something important. And, but is there a moment that is like the ultimate on your Bigfoot investigations? Like, holy crap, this was great. I want this again.
I would say the most profound experience that I ever had, it was in the same area where we go down here. It was just me and Chris that night, and him and I went out real late, and I mean, we went miles out there, and him and I, you know how we do,
Yes, I do.
We're gonna
I
do
can still
12
feel
miles
it
before the sun comes up. So me and Chris were walking, and there was like this very boggy marsh. I mean, it had to have been, somewhere between knee and hip high with water, but it's a swamp,
right.
With swamp water. There's no boats out there, and where we are, there are no other campers out there for sure. So him and I are walking, and I kept seeing this blue flash that looked like it was coming out from the water. And I was like, Chris, hold up. I was like, dude, there's a light coming from over there. We stopped and we looked. It didn't happen. We kept going. I saw it again. I'm like, Chris, there's something over there. Okay, there's a blue light. And so we sat there, and it happened again. And he saw it. And he's like, whoa, wow, check that out. I'm like, I know, that's crazy. So we keep walking. We didn't see it. We try to get film. Of course, it didn't happen. We're walking, and there was this roar/yell that happened. And it's that same thing that you were talking about, where it's so loud, or maybe it's the timbre of it or something. I could feel it in my chest, and I'm like, all right, I am a Florida born and raised girl. That is not an alligator. I know that is not a wild boar. That is not a coyote. Whatever that was something I have never heard.
Yeah, and that gets into, like, there's something called like the blue wisp of the forest, usually in a forest, and it tries to lead you deeper in so it can, who knows what happens.
Yeah,
it's not just there aren't just Bigfoot in the forest. There are things like that creature behind me that are out there, and there's other evil things, and I think you have to be really careful when you get into doing certain things and following certain leads, because who knows if it's a trap.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something: when you go deep, like these guys go into the forest,
don't follow those fairies into the woods, man.
I will tell you that they had to, your alternative, you go like where we went, it is so far in there that, with the exception, I think her name, maybe Chris. We probably could have carried Chris out between me, Stevie, and Carol.
Yeah.
And she's not that big. We probably could carry her out. But if you twist your ankle or you need help, you're done.
Yeah, you're like, the area that I'm talking about. I mean, it is out there. And then
it would be like, here's my gun and extra magazine. Good luck.
Yeah. We'll send a helicopter for you. I hope you live.
Yep. I know you love it. Chris is like, that's what we do. Yeah. It is just a blast also to just go out there and you're hanging out with like-minded people for once. There's no beefs, no bullshit, no nothing. And you guys are always, guys and girls, are always just a fantastic group of people.
Yeah.
So I'm better for knowing them. And this all started for me with knowing Stevie.
Mm-hmm.
And Stevie begot Chris and Carol, and now it begot you. And then we're going to see who else is up in the chain. And it's just like, I don't want to be famous for discovering X, Y, and Z. I want my questions answered.
I'm right there with you. Yeah.
You know,
That's
how
why
many
you should be
children
doing
do you
this.
have? Do you have, how do you meet your mate? How do you, we all, have an idea of how they make offspring, but it's like, what happened? Well, here's a question that's really weird, but what happens if they need a C-section?
I don't think they have those problems. I really don't.
I hope they don't, but that's
They
like,
seem-
who do they, do
seem
they
too
go
much like
interdimensionally?
perfect beings to me, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, if you have the ability to go in and out of dimensions, you probably have the ability to safely have a child. I don't know. That's just my theory on it. But
I would hope so, but all this stuff is crazy. But where are you going to be? Like, what's your schedule? Where are you going to be appearing or doing anything special coming up?
Well, about every 6 weeks or so since January, I've been flying out to wherever Mike Familants is giving presentations or wherever he's speaking at, and that's been all over the East Coast so far. So the end of next month, I'll be hanging out with him at the Uwari's Bigfoot Festival. I've got a TikTok series, like I said, it's called Unify the Woo. That's in pre-production right now, so that's going to be fun. I'm sure I'm going to get some backlash for that, for connecting all of this woo stuff.
Ooh, wait!
Oh yeah, they're not going to like that, are they?
Wait until I say this shit I'm going to say at the conference, and let me tell you something. People are going to be like, "Fuck you," and I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
yes, go ahead." Yeah,
It's like,
ruffle the feathers.
yeah, good. Because at this point, it's like, who cares, man? Nobody's right, because no one can prove that they're absolutely right. So why not explore?
Exactly.
Everything? So just
do you have a Bigfoot in your backyard?
Yeah.
Are you hiding one? Yeah.
I've
That would be
met
kinda
a
cool,
couple
though.
people at these festivals who say things rather close to it. I'll tell you about that
Yeah.
later.
Well,
But
you know what?
anyway,
Yes,
it has
ma'am.
been an absolute pleasure
Thank you.
being here. I want to thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I thank you for coming on. I'm always honored to have guests come on and accept my request. Mark can hook you up on other shows, by the way, and he can show you his books that he's written. We're just playing around, but he gets guests. He's an amazing human being, and I definitely want you back. And maybe when Mike and you guys have a moment and you both want to come on and talk about some stuff, I'm all about the love, and you get more from honey than lemons. And if life gives you lemons, we throw them at you. We throw them at every fucker that comes by. Thanks, Mike. Sorry. Those are my other days in different lifetime. Rock and roll. But yeah, come on back, and I'm like this.
Great idea.
What, throwing lemons at people? I think it's fantastic.
Having Julia return.
Well, I definitely want to have Julia return, but I want to go out with them and Chris and Stevie and go back to some spots, because I think this is what you need. If you're able to carry firearms for protection purposes, okay, you need that. Of course, you need a recorder. Yeah, we all do it. Florida's in the shape of a fucking gun. It's like I was asked, like, how old do they have to be to have a gun in Florida? I said, I think about 6. Who knows? My youngest was like, I'm scared. I was like, holy shit! Thank God you're my ride and die right now. But you need that. You need I think you need an audio recorder, a video recorder, and not only just video, but you also need photographic type of stuff. There's different items, but I would highly recommend a tri-field meter and a Geiger counter. And I think you also need to bring some kind of musical instrument or something that makes tones in different keys. There's a reason for it. I've learned that sound, frequency, vibration, and resonance brings all this stuff to you. So you don't have to travel out to the old campsite 9 miles down the road. No, it's joking, Chris.
I like it, man. I like those long hikes. I'm about it.
Well, it's not that bad, but like it would be a little bit better if we had those e-bikes or something like that, you know, just to get there quicker and without, because that would allow us to go further into areas that they're not expecting us to walk. Like, I could just picture him like, hey, that fat guy, he ain't making it down this path.
He ain't making it down there, man.
Yeah, and him, no way. But now you coming in like a little big wheel and like, ooh, and you're like, shit, they got bikes now. But it could be good for medical reasons too, to pull somebody out. Hey, someone go back and get some water. We need some water or whatever. But I think it's going to be great.
I agree.
Yeah, I know that. Chris says Stevie and I have going out in the woods with harmonica and bongos, and yep. I'm the acoustic is going to be with me the next time around, and we're just gonna have a little bit of a jam session. They love that stuff. They super duper love it.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, sitting around the campfire, just doing your thing. You'll draw them in.
And they like the tones and the sounds and the singing, and I really think that if you were able to be transplanted into certain areas like the Sierra Nevada, where the Sierra sounds come from, you would hear them like they probably have a band, and just singing I think they would communicate through song. I got to be honest, it's universal.
I'll try anything. If it works, it works.
Yeah, I'm just waiting. This is an old joke I have. This like AI image I want to do, like we're in the woods Bigfooting, and all of a sudden you hear, is that smoke on the water? And then you just have Bigfoot there, boom, boom, boom. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So there we were. We're going down this path, and next time we hear smoke on the water, we're like, wow, they're having a hard time getting a gig. And it's 3 Bigfoots playing smoke on the water. That would be pretty interesting. But I thank you very much again. And if it wasn't for you and Chris and my knowing all you guys right there, I really appreciate you guys having on. Everybody that's been in chat, I appreciate it. If you can share it. Is there any holiday coming up? Makes a good Labor Day weekend gift. I don't know. But we're definitely gonna have Julia back, and maybe we'll have some more of the Creature Man team and even Mike back to get it. Mark, I can't thank you enough. Great insight, great questions, and we'll talk about getting Max on the show. This coming month, I'm traveling from New York City back to Florida, the free state of Florida. Yes. Picking up my hardware when I hit Virginia. Yes. And making sure I stop at every fucking Buc-ee's that's on the planet. Because that is the greatest place in the world. But so I may have 1 or 2 shows in August, but enjoy your August. It's also like prime hurricane season in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
So that means extra ammo and extra booze. No. It means
you and I know that's the truth. That's what people do anyway. So
yeah. So and I have jars of Skippy butter, peanut butter, or Nutella. I'm not a big Nutella guy. Skippy's good. But and in the site with the campsite we have, and this is what I was going to tell you before, and I'm going to skip off for a second. Brain fart. You remember the tall wooden like telephone pole things so people can hang up hammocks?
Yeah.
So when these guys were in town, I think Chris had to leave because there was an issue with like a water in the house. I'm hanging out there just talking to him. I left him donuts on the top of all of them. And when I walked over, I noticed footprints, and it was a 7-foot gate. So that means the stride was 7 feet. The print was 27.5 inches long.
There's something very magical about that spot that we go out there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
stuff that goes on.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to get back there either way, no matter if it's closed or not. Is it closed? Yeah. But I thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. Stay cool. And like I do, I play my song. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be able to hear. And if you want to hang out for a few minutes, Julia, in the background, you can listen to the song. And then you can treat me like, wow, that sucked, or it was good, or whatever. But we'll chat.
Right.
Bye, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye.
It's always been you. God showed me you. I have been searching decades for you. I found you, I lost you. My heart is broken without you. My soul aches for you. I need you, I want you. My days are filled with you. I've seen the future with you. My home is with you. I have felt the future with you. My nights are filled with you. Love is you. True love is you. My happiness is you. Every past life is with you. My dreams are filled with you. Life is meaningless without you. My future is with you. I will fight for you. I will defend you. I will give up my life for you. Whatever it takes for you. Nothing else matters but you. I love you. I love you. I love you. God showed me you. I have been searching decades for you. I found you, I lost you. My heart is broken without you. My soul aches for you. I need you, I want you. My days are filled with you. I have seen the future with you. My home is with you. I have felt the future with you. My nights are filled with you. Love is you, true love is you. Love is you, true love is you. My happiness is you. Every past life is with you. My dreams are filled with you. Life is meaningless without you. My future is with you. I will fight for you. I will defend you. I would give up my life for you. Whatever it takes for you. Nothing else matters but you. I love you. I love you. Life is meaningless without you. My future is with you.